Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be why you can't see it until it's too late. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, yes, I'm referring to the narcissistic abusive cycle, the relationship, the wisdom, the understanding of the definitions, the glossary, and all of the knowledge. You couldn't see it when you were in the relationship because you were a kind, loving, stable, healthy person in a committed relationship. You weren't taught this in school. You didn't know what the signs were. You didn't know what certain things were: gaslighting, triangulation, mirroring, projection, financial abuse, ghosting, the texting games of the narcissist, the silent treatment. You didn't know that the narcissist had things called supply sources. You didn't know that the narcissist needed supply. You didn't know that they were missing a chip and that they were on a loop that was broken and it could not be fixed. You didn't know that you were in a irreparable relationship. You didn't realize that this person was feeding off of your emotions, stealing your money, consuming your mindset, and as soon as they took whatever they wanted, they probably discarded you. These are all things that the narcissist banked on you never knowing and never figuring out, but you did. And so many times people will say, wow, I wasted so much time in my life. I wasted 6 months. I wasted a year. I wasted 5 years. I wasted 30 years. I wasted 50 plus years and I never knew these things. How come? Why me? How come I couldn't see it? What happened? Well, my take there is, and I've always thought this way, and I will not change my mind right now, you didn't waste any time. You were ready to figure this out the moment you figured it out, and you should be fortunate and grateful that you did figure it out. There are so many people before you were born, that had never figured it out, and they never will. People that are trapped in the cycle right now on this planet of 8.2, almost 8.3 billion people. So many of those people haven't figured it out, and truth be told, most of them won't figure it out either. But you're different, you're unique. You are what I call the beautiful, bright, shining light. You are shining higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars, although perhaps today's a day when it doesn't quite feel like it. You need to stay the course. You need to continue to go through the tunnel. You need to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you need to realize that there is a reason you went through the relationship, but there is also a reason you are out of it, and that's the key. Many people stay stuck in the past, and that's where the narcissist wants you. They want you blaming yourself. They want you thinking you could have done more, and you should have done more. If only you stayed in there longer and ignored more of the toxicity, if you gave them more money, or only if you stayed tethered to them longer, that things would have improved or been better. You now know that nothing ever improves in the narcissistic relationship. The narcissist is a taker. They'll take whatever they want, and they will discard the person as soon as they believe or deem that there's another supply source that could provide more. You at one point were the new supply. I was too. You were the next new shiny object. You were the person who was vulnerable. You were naive. You were uneducated. You were empathetic, and you were committed. The narcissist saw all of those four attributes, and they said to themselves, wow, if this person has those four, that means they have a lot more behind the hood. Not the mask, the hood, which is you. Again, you weren't taught this in school. If you were taught the signs, you probably or may have been able to avoid that narcissist or that toxic person. But until you got the wisdom, you probably would have encountered another one. You see, it starts with one person, and that person is the apex predator, the narcissist you are considering. That is why or how you went down the rabbit hole of education and exploration. That's how you ended up here. And as I'm creating this video in the beautiful Carolina sunshine, and as you're consuming it, maybe it's snowing where you are, maybe it's raining, maybe you're at the beach, maybe you are on a train, maybe you just landed somewhere, maybe you're at work, wink, wink. Who knows where you are, but you're meant to be consuming this content as I'm creating it. There's no such thing as a coincidence on this planet. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And you were in that relationship for the length of time you were supposed to be in it. Now, you may say, well, I didn't want to be in it. I didn't know I was being abused, and I wish I was out of it. I wish I were out of it. Well, I understand that. And that's a natural way to think, that you want to be out of it or you didn't want to be in it. Truth be told, none of us wanted to be in the cycle. None of us wanted to be trapped, and none of us wanted to be stuck trying to fix an unfixable relationship. But that's not reality. Reality is we did what we did, and we were in it for the length we were supposed to be in it, and now we're out, and now we're healing. So when you are in it, You couldn't see the signs. Again, you didn't know what to look for. Another part, I need to close this part and I'll share it with you, is you didn't waste 1 second of your life. You're here. You're getting your cup full. You're understanding how strong you are. You're understanding that you were taken advantage of in the past and no longer are you doing so. And now you need to understand that you couldn't do anything different than what you did. You could have owned all the money in the world. You could have owned your own country. You could have owned your own solar system or more. It wouldn't be enough for the narcissist because the narcissist wouldn't allow it to be that way. This person breaks relationships. They don't build them. This person destroys lives. They don't create lives. These people trap people in the zombie-like, trance-like state, which is what is known as the narcissistic fog. They don't want people escaping. You've escaped or you are escaping. You're different than everybody else. You need to wrap your head around how strong you are. You need to really process those lifelong learning lessons from the past. You need to get the toxicity out of your aura, out of your bloodstream, and out of your mindset by practicing radical acceptance, by putting 2 and 2 together, by continuing to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can't predict the future. What you need to do eventually is live in the present moment. The present moment is where I am right now as I'm creating this video. And as you are consuming it, you should be in the present moment also. You should be realizing that you can't change the past. What you can do is direct your new future. You can consume the content that you need to improve your circumstances, to improve your mindset, and to improve your life. But if you are still tethered or connected to that toxic person, meaning there are still avenues of communication open to them from you or to you from them, the healing path will be a lot more challenging, a lot more challenging. That's why virtually in every video I create, I suggest strongly to go no contact, to block this person, delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If you've already done that, you know that you already feel better. Sure, did it sting for a while? Of course it did. Did it hurt? Yeah. But you have to realize that the person that you were stuck thinking about, they were your abuser. They weren't your soulmate. They weren't the love of your life. They weren't the yin to your yang. They were a person who was manipulating you, and they would have extinguished you and your beautiful, bright, shining light if they could have, but they couldn't, unlike all the other people before you, which those lights probably were extinguished. But this is why you need to be kind with yourself. This is why you need to be patient with yourself. This is why you need to continue to journal, to meditate, to heal childhood wounds, to see a therapist if they know what they're talking about, to really slow your life down and stay in that cocoon of boundaries and process things and understand that, yeah, you were targeted. There was no other way. If you didn't meet that narcissist without this wisdom, you probably would have met a different one. And you may say, well, no, if I didn't meet that one, my life would have been great. I would have been doing fantastic. That's what you think. That's not what you know. Because reality is you did meet that person. And reality is your world was rocked and taken upside down. And reality was that you were taken advantage of and that you were trying your best to fix an unfixable relationship. As I mentioned so frequently, including in this video at least once, maybe twice, you didn't know that these relationships ended one way. And they all end in Destructionsville. They all end with one person, which is you, and it certainly was me, having to heal from the relationship. The person you're considering has nothing to heal from because they know that there's a bottomless pit within them. There's a void that can't be filled other than for short terms with what is known as supply. You are not supply. You are that beautiful, bright, shining light. And you shine so high, higher than the sun, which is that, the moon and the stars and everything in between. And the narcissist saw your beautiful, bright, shining light like a moth to a flame. They were attracted to it. They got as close to you as they could. They slowly dimmed your light. They slowly took everything from underneath you. They blamed you. They triangulated you. They verbally abused you. They did everything they possibly could and more. And then they tried to snuff you out. A little graphic, but that's what they tried to do. And what they did ultimately was overplay their hand like they always do, because you're different and you've healed and you understand that, yeah, there was no other way. You had to go through that relationship. You didn't want to go through it, but you did, and here you are. Number two, you realize that that person is only going to get worse over time because they are becoming the aging narcissist. Number three, you could communicate with anybody you want to about narcissism. If they didn't go through the cycle, they're not going to understand what you went through. Number four, when you were still looking for closure or communication with the abuser or the narcissist, you were thinking that they were going to give you answers or answer the questions that you had. You now realize they didn't do that, but it wasn't because they didn't want to do it. It's because they knew that it would hurt you more if they could not communicate with you and punish you and not give you closure. So hopefully you would extinguish yourself. Sorry to say it, but that's what these people want. But you didn't do it because you're here. Think about how strong you are. Think about all the toxicity you experienced. Think about how much of a better space you're in right now if you have healed or if you are healing. And think about what you had to do to rebuild yourself. You took a financial hit, you took an emotional hit, you took a spiritual hit, you took a directional hit, you took a health hit, and you took relationship hits. That's not even counting jobs and hobbies and everything else. But what did you do post-relationship? I'll tell you what you did. You wouldn't quit. You were determined to figure out what this was. And eventually you did that. Eventually you cracked the code. And eventually you put 2 and 2 together. And that's what separates you from the toxic person and from most every other person on the planet. Because you're a fighter. You're diligent. You're determined. You have purpose and direction. And you understand that you are the priority. You come first, second, and third. And there's no room in your life now or ever for toxicity. But back then you didn't know what you know now. So when you're in it, you can't see it. This is why this relationship was not your fault. This is why you were targeted. This is why the narcissist discarded you. This is why they didn't care about you. This is why they care about nobody. Because they just want to go through life wrecking people's lives, destroying relationships, stealing money, cheating, lying, and doing anything else they can, and blaming the person that just did everything for them. Essentially, the new supply or the supply. They want to punish that person. Because as I shared with you, and I will close the video, the narcissist has a bottomless pit within them. It can never be filled. And you may think, well, no, the narcissist I knew, the relationship I was in, they're now married for the 3rd time, the 4th time, the 5th time, and they seem to be doing great. Well, just really take a good hard look at who's doing great. You are. That's you. The narcissist is stuck in that low vibrational state, and they will make it seem like they're winning and they're doing the best and they're in the relationship with the love of their life and everything, but behind the scenes, behind the mask, and in the 4 walls of the house that parasite is living, probably on somebody else's dime, it's just getting worse, and the walls are closing in on that person. The new supply is being punished, and it's the cycle going around for another loop, around and around and around. That's why you need to be grateful that once you're out, you need to stay out. You need to maintain no contact, maintain your boundaries, and realize this wasn't your fault. Being out of the relationship is a good thing. In the beginning, it will feel anything other than that. It's going to feel painful. It's going to feel challenging. You're going to be missing the person. You're going to be wanting to talk to them. You're going to be thinking about them and ruminating and all those things. I went down that same path for quite a long time. But eventually, when everything clicks and everything settles in and you put all of the newfound wisdom to use for yourself, then you realize the further you get away from that person, the stronger you are. The stronger you are, the better you are. The better you are, the weaker they become. The weaker they become, the less you care about them. The less you care about them, the more your purpose becomes revealed to you. And that's how I've helped so many thousands upon thousands of people, tens of thousands of people reach that pinnacle, that mountaintop of indifference where we are all waiting for you to arrive. We are all lifting our arms down to pull you up, but you have to do your part. You have to go no contact. You have to block the person. You have to heal. You have to slow your life down. You have to not overshare information. And you have to cut the 4 ties, the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. And as you cut those and you elevate and you ascend, you will realize that every word I've shared with you over almost 5 years has not only been true and accurate, but now some of the things that I shared way back when in early 2021 up until this very video right now may have not ever resonated with you or clicked with you, but now they do. And now you're beginning to see, wait a minute, I'm understanding what Andrew's talking about with the mountaintop. I'm understanding what radical acceptance is. I really now know that I have to go. I have to block many people. I may have to relocate. I may have to change my phone number. I may have to do a lot of things that I wasn't prepared to do, but I'm rebuilding. And that's what I had to do, and that's what I helped so many other people do. You need to do your part, and you need to understand the narcissist doesn't care about you. They never have, and they never will. They will continue to communicate with any avenue of supply that's available to them, and they will do whatever they want to do as long as they get whatever they need, not ever, and I mean ever, caring about the other person. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I will talk to you tomorrow. One thing before I close the video: recognize exactly where you are right now on the journey. Maybe this is the 10,000th video you've consumed. Maybe it's the first video you've consumed. No matter where you are in the journey, if you've cut the ties with the narcissist, you understand that you are improving your circumstances. Staying stuck in the zombie-like, trance-like state is not living. It's existing at its very basic structure. It's existing on their terms. You were being preyed upon, P-R-E-Y-E-D, preyed upon. You were being, the life force and the energy was being sucked out of you by them. You were being manipulated, used, and abused. And you were being a person who they were continuing to slice one cut at a time, because this relationship you're considering, it was death by 1,000 paper cuts. And did the narcissist ever, and I mean ever, care about you? They didn't. They cared about what you provided: your utility, your access, your emotions, your money, your mindset, your house, and your hobbies, and your job, and that's pretty much it. They don't care about any other person on the planet, anyone other than themselves, and these people do not change. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. And there's the beautiful, bright, shining light. Bye, everybody.